Guardian Roadside Solutions is ready to help with your roadside emergencies serving the greater Cleveland area. They have the knowledge and experience to get you back on the move quickly with staff available 24/7 to help with flat tires, tire damage, changes, fuel delivery, vehicle lockouts, dead battery, or new battery installs. If you find yourself or someone you know in this situation, call a Guardian at 440-833-6000.
Are you looking for a place to have custom t-shirts made for your business? Well, we have the place for you. Flathouse Press works with 100% eco-friendly material for all of you conscious folks. They can also put out orders in a fraction of the time large-scale competitors can. They are a fun, locally grown Cleveland original company. Go to flathousepress.com and check out the variety of party toys, headbands, and clothing in their catalog.
Chapter systems are offline.
Number one. Ladies and gentlemen, here it is.
No Outlet Live, with your favorite hosts on the North Coast, Jeremy Tomesek and Jarrod Stover. The road to boredom ends here.
No outlet, but I need to charge my phone.
No Outlet Live.
Welcome back. Ooh, got something going on with my feedback. Hold on. It is No Outlet Live. Whoa. Hold on. Yellow. Hello. Alright, there we go. So, welcome back to another episode of No Outlet Live. A whole nother week of our lives. It is your man, Jeremy Tomesek. I am in the studio with myself. It's just me today, you guys. So I'm here. I'm with you. You could call the show at 216-647-0064. 4. Please call and keep me some company. There's been a few things going on in my own life. So I went to my pre-trial, and I'm going to trial over my my various crimes that I committed the weekend after my birthday. I'm going to trial for that. I'm working with a public defender. No matter how bad of a situation it is, I financially just can't handle a lawyer. But I also feel like I'm about to be paying that anyways to the courts. I think I'm going to make up for it in other things. So that's been going on in my life. I've become quite a recluse. I'm at the house a lot. I try to get out. I've been exploring a lot more around Lakewood, where the studio is. Jarrod is not here with us today. His daughter is sick. And you know what? I figured the man, the myth, the legend, I can't leave y'all waiting. All 3 of y'all. You can find the show anywhere that you watch podcasts. I'm on YouTube, Spotify, and of course, Facebook Live. So there's been some stuff going on all over the news. I'm just going to go straight into this one story that I pulled video of. Let me actually play you guys some of this video I got going on of Taryn. What's her full name? Taryn Manning. So she was the chick that was she was like the bottom bitch or the top bitch on man, I'm at a loss for words. I'm not used to just sitting here by myself, man. It's so lonely. I so lonely. Hustle and Flow. So Taryn Manning was on Hustle and Flow, and she was the white girl with the big old long blonde braids that she was rocking, and she was the one that was like, she was solid with my man Maine. Let me get rid of this over here. Okay, so let me pull up this video for you guys, and then I'll get more into
So I had to pull over because I'm just like, I don't want to like cause crashes because I'm just so rooted right now. So the man that I've been messing with is a married man, and every night, well, for about 3 nights in a row, or even maybe there's a night in between, I was licking his butthole.
Now, hold on. Taryn Manning went online. She's in a lot of TV and movie stuff. She's been an actor an actress for a long time. And she does this viral video looking rough. Just to start off, she's looking rough here. And she's talking about dating some dude and licking his butthole. I'm not a kink shaming kind of guy, but this is crazy to do as like a movie star, or is it? I don't know. Let's hear some more.
Yep. Because he liked it. And I didn't mind doing it. Does that bother? Is that weird? Yeah. And that is what.
It's a little weird for you of all people to be looking like a junkie and doing this and just saying it online. That's a crazy thing about online, and I'm also a victim of this, is spreading too much personal information. This is we're in a brave new world. Let's hear some more from Taryn.
Demons do. So we drove all the way down to Newport Beach today so I could buy him a boat. I was so in love, so I thought, so I could buy this gentleman a boat. And I brought cash to put a down payment down. Like, I really loved him.
Big money.
I was like, yes, like, we're into the same thing, like, we're kinky, blah, blah, blah. And his wife, because he's married, and I feel so bad because I can't stand her. I can't stand his wife.
She can't stand that wife because this wife she's in the way of me getting some nice crispy butthole. And I like this butthole so much that I'm about to buy this man a boat of it. And now if you look closely at the screen right here, actually, look at the ring she wears is a pretty large 3-finger crossing upside down cross. It's like a, I'm sure that just goes where the actual intersecting lines on the ring is probably just one ring there. So it's not like a knuckle duster, but it's a long ring and it's of an upside down cross.
Cause she wasn't even like, wait, what? You've been messing with my man? She said, you lunatic, you get out of my life or I'll get an RO on you.
A restraining order. And that's what she means by RO. And I think that the wife is justified. You are crazy, Taryn.
No, I'll put your ass in jail. Anyway, so I've been licking your man's butthole for weeks on end because he likes it a lot, and I do.
Hold up. Let's run that back.
No, I'll put your ass in jail. Anyway, so I've been licking your man's butthole for weeks on end because he likes it a lot, and I do it to him, and he comes to me,
Not do it
and it
to
happens. And that's a lot. I know it's a lot of information, but I'm the lunatic, right? No, I'm just single. Very single. And he came to me. So you don't accuse me.
She has the crackhead lips. If you really pay attention to this video, and she's wearing no bra. Her nipples are poking out of this like crochet top that she's wearing. It's Taryn is a wild one, and I didn't know that Hustle and Flow was like her real life.
Me of being a lunatic, but I'll tell you one thing, lady.
And if you haven't seen Hustle and Flow, which I don't know how you, if you're any sort of person above 18, if you haven't seen Hustle and Flow, shame on you.
You want to put me in jail? I'll put you in jail so fast, your head will be spinning. Don't you ever threaten me. And I will show you how I do. Don't you ever threaten me when your husband came to me to get his butthole licked. So I had to pull.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, so that's Taryn Manning. She's a wacko, and I don't know. The guy, her, they're both crazy. I kind of understand where the guy's side of this though, because if somebody's gonna orally wipe your ass for you quite a bit and buy you a boat for it, I mean that's fantastic. Shouts out to the butthole Licky, I guess you would call him. The Licky. He won. He's winning right now. He's getting his little bum licked, and he's getting a boat for it. I mean, you got to have some pretty good ass for somebody to buy you a boat out of the whole ordeal. It is pretty wild, and I don't know. With me being down a co-host, I'm not really the type of person that rambles a lot without having somebody to bounce ideas off of. So I don't want this show to be convoluted with just me. So it may be a short episode with me being solo, but I figured maybe, you know what, let's go into some, not that. We'll go into some more of these videos that I pulled specifically for the show, and some of them were actually sent in by Jarrod. So I want to see this one that he had sent in.
Okay, so this is what we're going to call the pyramid of life. And there's this theory that you can only pick 2 of these things. You can't have all 3. You either got to have quality and have a lot of time, but you won't have much money. You have quality and money, but you spend so much time working that you don't have time. Or you have time and money, but everything in your life is of low quality. Now, let me tell you why this is not true. Because in this life, you most likely won't have any of this shit. Because it's fucking hard out here.
You ain't never lied. Thank you, David Blaze. That that is right. I mean, to make money already takes a whole lot of your time. I have debated a lot of my my media life a lot lately, and at a certain point, to become a true creative and somebody that works within the industry of content and things like that, you do have to work it like a job. So when you have a full-time job and you're doing all kinds of overtime and stuff, you can't really do that without losing a lot of sleep. Really, he could add sleep into this triangle. Maybe make it a square with 4 points, because sleep is a big thing when you want to build a business and start your own line of income, or your own business. You would be able to become an employer. You have to spend 10 hours a day on it, even if you're not getting paid. And I don't have the resources in my life to not have a job. So it really puts a big damper on things, because, you know, sometimes I wish I could just pick up and just leave and go do what all of the greats have done. They picked up out of their cities. You'd be surprised how many celebrities are from Ohio. And at one point they pick up and they hit LA. I mean, that's really what it comes down to, is going to places like Florida, LA. Right now, Texas for comedy is becoming a staple of the country. But there's a lot of places where you could become a creative. New York, you know, if I could just pick up and live in New York somewhere without a job, that would be ideal. And, you know, I would make a whole lot more success, I think, doing that. So he ain't lying, because I need quality of life and time, and I don't have that, because I have to make money. This is actually a really good video. Thank you for submitting that, Jarrod. That's really solid. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot that I think of when it comes to stuff like that, because when you live in Ohio your whole life and then you step outside of it, you realize how much a state can be a mind state for somebody. You know, people have a different quality of life in different parts of the country, and it shows. I mean, it really shows. The cost of living is actually a lot higher in a lot of places outside of the Midwest. The Midwest has, I talked with a friend about this recently, about just the ghettos from other states and cities compared to Midwest cities. And it's different. It really is different when you see a place where industry was huge and it's slowly falling apart. The car industry collapsed in America in general. Everybody outsourced to Mexico and other countries to build these cars and stuff. That's not like the big job you can get anymore. And that's another thing that is going on in this country. A lot of people like to talk down on Gen Z and the millennials and, you know, 80s babies and 90s babies, and say that, I don't know, we're all just lazy and things like that. But I don't know how many people realize the way that's set up for us is a lot easier in a lot of ways. And there's a lot more cooler things. You're a lot more connected, and like technology has made life a lot easier. But at the same time, the money that we generate for what we get out of the money isn't the same. I mean, the inflation is hurting the millennials and Gen Z a lot more than I think other generations prior to that. So, I don't know. I could really talk all night about money, because we're living in I don't think it has anything to do with the presidents. I don't think you can blame Biden or point the finger at Trump or any of these people about how how far our money goes. I mean, we're on a fake money system. Our money isn't backed by anything, and that's been known forever. So when we spend all this money and they put these crazy prices on everything to where, I'm making the best money in my life right now, and I feel like I'm making minimum wage. And it's practically because I am. I mean, the way that everything costs now, my measly 20-something bucks, it doesn't give me the access to things that a lot of other people do. Marriage is crippled in this country. People aren't having kids no more, and there's a lot that goes into that. I mean, who knows if it's the diet of America, why people ain't having babies no more, or if it's that the marriage is not happening the way you used to is because of the babies. I don't know. I saw, speaking of babies, hey Jarrod, we miss you, bud, and we hope all is well for your baby. She's just got a little flu or a stomach bug. But yeah, speaking of babies, so I my license is suspended until Monday. Monday, I'm getting my license back so I can get back and forth from work until I figure this all out in trial. So I was at the bus in downtown Cleveland earlier, and I'm waiting for my bus to pull up, and there was this pregnant lady who had just got off of a bus and was walking by, and she was big pregnant. Her baby bump was pretty swollen. There was a definite 6-7 months, maybe I would have to say, far along into the pregnancy. This lady hops off and she's smoking one of them soft filter Black and Milds, and I kind of almost couldn't believe it. I was looking at this lady, and I'm like, no way, man. Like, I don't know. That's a weird thing a weird choice is a soft filter Black and Mild. Really smoking anything while you're pregnant is probably not so good. But who am I to judge? I don't know. I would be fiending out for my vape if I was pregnant. That'd be a different thing to really deal with, and addiction is wild. But I feel like if you're pregnant, you're forcing somebody else to smoke that Black and Mild with you. And I don't know. I felt kind of bad, and I'm not one of them Karen type people that'll say something. You do what you do and live your life. It doesn't bother me that much to where I have to insert myself into your life. But I don't think that's a good decision. It's pretty wild. I make a lot of bad decisions, but that one's a different one. That's harming a child. I mean, call it like you see it. Okay, so there's this guy on YouTube that I watch quite a bit. Let me close that out. He makes 80s music instrumentals. I'm an instrumental guy. I could go into something else in a second about that, but I want you to see this video. He makes all these 80s songs, but he never puts a saxophone in there. Hey, come on. We all know that in 80s music, you got to have that sweet, sexy sax. Put them sax on me. That was that's amazing. You gotta follow this guy on TikTok. It's Sunglasses Kid Music, I believe. And yeah, this dude, he's his TikTok feed is amazing. All the 80s music that he's been building and putting out. It's really cool at this dude. Like I've always been into hip hop production and stuff like that. But to be somebody in 2023 dropping 80s classics, bro. Like he's making, this dude is a classic beat maker for sure. I mean, his beats are nasty. And shout out to whoever this kid is that collabed with him and with the sax in his mouth. That dude, he really killed it. You know what? I want to play it. I want to run that. Maybe I shouldn't. We'll run it back. I can see Michael Jackson just going in on this. Or Tupac. This is like a Tupac beat. Looking at the world through my rear view. Murder, my mind state. Man, Sunglasses Kid Music on on the sweet TikTok. I love my TikTok feed. This is another one that got submitted by Jarrod, and I don't know what it is. We'll just check it out. Oh, man, that's a whole lot of steel chairs. And these days, that's a lot of money ever since the boat fight. Look at that. It's like $250,000 in chairs. Them boys are deadly weapons now. They buried them. Oh, damn, this is real. Wrestling kicks ass, dude. They did bury people in this. Yeah, there's a couple of guys in there that just got buried in chairs. Oh my God, hold on. This is super real. Did that dude really get knocked out? Oh my God. He did get knocked out for real. Oh my God, man. Wrestling fans are wild. That is crazy. I've seen a lot of wrestling stuff in my life. Never that.
Dude, put a hole in it. Use your thumb.
The greatest shotgun trick ever. I remember watching this video and going through the comments, and we'll run it back one more time for you. The greatest shotgun trick.
Dude, put a hole in it. Use your thumb.
Now, the commentary on this is that that was that kid's dad right there, and that's his mom. And yes, I did say that was his dad, because after this, the guy murders him and goes to prison. I'm kidding. But look at the mom in the back. She knows this dude just did the wrong prank on the wrong guy. He is he's a gargantuan compared to his son. And this dude just got whale bursted. I don't know what you call it. That's like a whale spray. The greatest shotgun trick ever. I'm surprised he didn't just yoke that kid up right there. And this is my last video that I have for you guys.
Let me say that again. The whole history of America is the history of rich white men telling not rich white people that their enemies are black and brown. It starts in the colonies of what would become the United States. Let's remember, during the colonial period, mid-1600s, there was no such thing as white people. I know some people who are now called white find that shocking, right? Because they think whiteness is real, right? But whiteness was created. Europeans didn't call themselves white. We didn't call ourselves white. We weren't all members of one big happy family. Are you kidding? Have you studied the history of Europe? The history of Europe was about killing each other. That's what we did in Europe. We just killed each other before we figured out there were other people to kill. We just killed each other, right? I mean, that was the history of Europe. The English hated the Irish, right? Northern Italians didn't even think that Southern Italians were Italians.
Message.
The Germans hated everybody.
Message.
And everybody hated their ass right back.
Message.
There was no team called white, no race called white, but all of a sudden, in the middle of the 1600s, there was. Why? Why was it suddenly necessary to create this thing called the white race? Well, because rich people can count. That's why. And so rich folks looked around, the ones that owned all the land, you know, in the colonies, the colonial elite looked around and they realized something, that they were heavily outnumbered by African enslaved folks, by European indentured servants who were just one level above a slave, or other Europeans who weren't technically indentured servants, but they were still peasants, didn't have any money, didn't have any land, and they could do the math. They added it up and they were like, damn, we got to figure out a way to split these folks apart from one another or they're going to rise up and take our stuff, right? Because after a while, these black folks who were enslaved Africans and these quote-unquote white folks who were poor Europeans are going to figure out they're all getting played by these rich people, right? So ultimately, the rich figure out they got to come up with some way to get somebody in that group on their team. The easiest thing is to get the poor Europeans, right? Because at least they look like you. They sort of share some of the customs and the culture. So they all of a sudden create this thing called whiteness, and they say, now you're part of the club. Now we're going to let you testify in court, enter into contracts, vote, at least if you're a man, own a little bit of land, at least if you're a man, right? And we're going to get rid of indentured servitude. No more of that, because you're too good for that. And
I've been saying this for a long time, and Jarrod is also another person that likes to say this quite a bit. We're all slaves. We're all slaves. There's people out there that have $1 trillion. There is people of this world that have $1 trillion, probably multiple trillions. And thanks to the internet and people being able to see other people that have done a lot of the footwork in researching this stuff, they're able to spread the word to everybody to let us know that, you know, there is no race war. There is a wealth war. And that's been the issue, is that the wealth war will tell you and brainwash you into thinking that people hate each other because of skin color, and that's not even real. Like, of course, you got some people that are just like completely blind to how the real world works, but that is a dying breed. I can tell you that. All the racism that I've been seeing lately is from older people. And the younger people, we're all past all that shit because we know that there's a wealth war. It's the people that are sitting on top of these pyramids and shitting down them that we all should be really having a problem with. Because they don't do anything to help anything. They're busy slaving us and polluting the world while doing it. Instead of, like, you know, having the Rothschilds and people like that do their duty of helping what they're helping destroy. You know, the Rothschilds, they do things around the world that is like good. Downtown Cleveland has a Rothschilds building because they used to live out here on Millionaires Row. And they're worth like $1 trillion, probably more. They could do a lot around this country and the world to help things, and they don't, because they invest into the craziest stuff that is terrible. The rest of the world isn't as free as America. I'll give America that. But America is really how this guy says it. I mean, they've pitted everyone against each other at the bottom, and they're making no middle. So the middle's being eradicated right now. There's only going to be rich and poor again soon.
And we're going to take the white men, now called white men, and put them on the slave patrol to keep black people in line. Give them a horse and a gun and a badge and make them feel big and powerful, right? They're still poor. They still don't have anything. They didn't pay the slave patrol well, right? Just exploited them, used them as a buffer between the elite and the other poor folks, particularly poor folks of color. And pretty soon, the rebellions that occasionally happened where black and white got together to overthrow the elite, those stopped because the divide and conquer had begun to work, right? You could turn people against each other by telling those poor white folks, they got to keep these black people in line. And so that divide and conquer gets initiated in the colonies. Rich white men telling not rich white people that their enemies are black and brown. Fast forward to the Civil War era. And you have, I'm from the South, right? My people, the elite in my part of the country, right, actually announced that the reason they wanted to break away from the Union and possibly go to war with their brothers and sisters to the North was in order to maintain slavery and white supremacy. They said that at the time. We lie about it now. And we say it had nothing to do with that. But of course, at the time, they didn't have any shame about it, so they just said it openly, right? The vice president of the Confederacy, Alexander Stephens, said that the cornerstone of the new government was the great truth that the Negro was not the equal of the white man. So that's the reason the Confederacy was formed and existed. But here's the trick. If I'm rich and I want to go to war to protect my ownership in other human beings, my property, but you're poor and you don't own any enslaved people, why the hell would you go fight to protect my stuff? Because I'm a rich person. I'm not going to fight. Rich people don't go to war, right? Rich people get poor people to go to war for them, whether it's in 1860 or whether it's during the 1960s or whether it's today, right? Rich folks get doctors to write notes for them that say that they have heel spurs, and that's why they can't go to Vietnam. And if you don't know who I'm talking about, you can Google that shit because he's sitting in the White House right now, right?
This was at the time of, I believe, Donald Trump. Donald Trump is the one that said he had foot spurs, and he decided to not go to war.
Well, I can't go fight. I have heel spurs. Send some poor kids to do that for me, please, right? So that's been a long-standing tradition. So the rich have to figure out a way to convince the poor to go fight for them. But that's a hard thing. That's like a hard sell, right? Like how...
Let me double check myself real quick. I actually want to see if that's true. Yeah, it was Trump. A podiatrist say that 50 years ago their father was diagnosed President Donald Trump with bone spurs in his heels as a favor to the doctor's landlord. Trump received 5 deferments from the draft for military service during the Vietnam War. He received 4 education deferments while he was a college student and had a 5th deferment in 1968 for a medical exemption after he graduated. So yeah, I mean, he was rich and he was able to pay for all that stuff. Like the guy says, I mean, this dude is well versed.
How the hell, why would you do that? Why would you go fight to protect my property rights when you don't own anything? The only way you would do it is if that rich person comes to you and says, hey, listen, you gotta go fight because we gotta maintain our way of life, because if these people get free, they're gonna take your jobs. No, fool, they already got your job. That's how it works, right? Because if I'm white and I got to charge you $1 a day to work on the farm, but you can get a black person to do it for nothing because you own them, guess who got the job? Free got the job, right? So in a sense, poor white folks would have been better off joining with black folks to overthrow the slave system. That would have raised the wage floor of all working people. But they got tricked by rich white men telling them that their enemies were black and brown. Fast forward to the 1930s. And you have white labor leaders. They're not even the elite, right? The labor leaders are not the elite, but they're the elite within the labor movement. And even they had fallen for it at this point. So they didn't want to integrate their unions. And they would say things like, well, we can't have black people and Mexicans and Chinese folks in our unions because if we do that, it's going to reduce the professionalism of our craft. We have to maintain the integrity of our profession. No, fool, you need more people in the damn union is what you need. And if you don't let those folks in, guess what happens when you go out on strike? Who is the boss going to use to replace you? They're going to replace you with the very same black and brown folks that you didn't want to work next to, right? And so at the end of and then you're going to blame them for taking your job rather than the white rich dude for giving it to them, right? Divide and conquer, telling not rich white folks that their enemies are black and brown. And now we fast forward to the president. We got the president of the United States becoming president on the basis of that same rhetoric, telling not rich white folks that the reason they don't have a job is because Mexicans took them, right? That's the argument. Keep in mind, there's been a net outflow of Mexican folks from this country, out of this country in the last 10 years. Right now, border crossings and actual in-migration at the lowest level they've been since the 1970s. So anybody who believes that is a damn fool, or somebody who does not understand how to do research on the internet, or someone who doesn't care, right? But he says it. He says the reason you don't have a job is those brown folks took them.
It's wild. That dude's smart. That guy is smart. I agree with him. I mean, he is completely right. We got took. We got majorly took. But, you know, sit back and think about that. It is wild that people don't realize it's a wage war. Because there's not just a poor race. There's just select people that, you know, there's lucky people that are not lucky, hardworking people that do make it, and they're decent people that do things that are well, but at the top of the heap, families like the Rothschilds or the Bilderbergs and people like that, they're something else, man, and they got us all in a chokehold. So we'll marinate on that. When I come back, we're going to go to a quick break. We'll go to some fresh news. A little bit. I think some of it should be a little more better than the depressing stuff we had in the video section. I'll be back.
The show will be right back. No, seriously. Not like the time your dad left for cigarettes.
I'm that kid whose father went out for a pack of cigarettes, and he never came back.
No Outlet Live.
Guardian Roadside Solutions is ready to help with your roadside emergencies serving the greater Cleveland area. They have the knowledge and experience to get you back on the move quickly with staff available 24/7 to help with flat tires, tire damage, changes, fuel delivery, vehicle lockouts, dead battery, or new battery installs. If you find yourself or someone you know in this situation, call a Guardian at 440-833-6000.
Are you looking for a place to have custom t-shirts made for your business? Well, we have the place for you. Flathouse Press works with 100% eco-friendly material for all of you conscious folks. They can also put out orders in a fraction of the time large-scale competitors can. They are a fun, locally grown Cleveland original company. Go to flathousepress.com and check out the variety of party toys, headbands, and clothing in their catalog.
What's up? Jay Remy here, host of No Outlet Live. Are you considering or curious about how you could start your own podcast? Join Anchor. Anchor has everything you need to make a podcast for free. Monetize your podcast, one-click distribution, record from anywhere on the app, and they have unlimited free hosting. Download Anchor on the App Store or Google Play. Anchor, podcasting made easy.
All of our loved ones always die in December. I miss the night times that I can't remember. Venom-filled veins and stone-cold sedation. Drugs are amazing and I fucking hate it. Kick the dirt off from your heels, darling. There's hell inside of these eyes. Let's lose ourselves around the cold rings of Saturn tonight. Fade away deep down into the depths. I wanna be swept out to sea. Life can seem like an ill-conceived illusion. There's no solution for some sicknesses. My soul turns to stone and I sink into the abyss. Chasing pipe dreams has its drawbacks. And without you, the world would be a much worse place. And without you, this world would be a much worse place. And without you, this world would be a much worse place. Without you, this world would be a much worse place. Without you.
It ain't delivery. It's the best podcast live on Saturdays.
What's up, y'all? It is your boy, Jeremy. I'm back. I'm solo on this episode tonight. So we just covered a whole lot of crazy videos, but really my mind is still stuck on Taryn Manning. I can't believe that lady with her booty hole licking. That is this is a crazy thing to put out on the internet as a female. But we are gonna jump right into my news stories that I have for you every week. I gather up some of the top news stories I find Saturday mornings. All of our stuff is always fresh on this show. So, without further ado, let's get into it.
No Outlet News.
So, our first story is about this lady, okay? So earlier this week, this lady started going to court because she had went out and foraged mushrooms from her backyard and fed them to her family, her in-law family. These people ended up dying because she got poisonous mushrooms from her backyard to make beef Wellington. And anybody that's ever watched Hell's Kitchen and knows about the beef Wellington, that's Chef Ramsay's favorite thing. This is the sad lady, and these are the deadly mushrooms. Let's get into this article. So it says, poison mushroom chef who cooked beef Wellington and that left in-laws dead. Expert forager, her friend says she claimed to be. Erin Patterson has denied any wrongdoing after serving a deadly meal to her ex-husband's parents and former in-laws. But now a source close to the family has said she was known to expertly pick wild mushrooms around Victoria's Gippsland region. Victoria's Gippsland. I don't know where the hell that is. In that region, she, on a fairly regular basis, she was picking wild mushrooms. The 48-year-old was good at foraging and identifying the different types of mushrooms. A friend of the Patterson family said. They told Daily Mail Australia the family, including Aaron and Simon, would pick mushrooms each year when they were in season. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it's also very easy to mistake one for the other. Mushrooms are a crazy thing where a lot of them, they're almost, you can't predict things like that because there's so many that are similar. Her estranged husband, Simon Patterson, was due to be at the lunch at their home in Victoria, Australia on July 29th, but he pulled out at the last minute. Those were at the fateful meal where Simon's parents, Gail and Don, both 70 years old, Gail's sister, Heather Wilkinson, and Gail's husband, Ian Wilkinson. They had gathered for a mediation meeting to discuss Aaron and Simon's relationship, but within days of the Pattersons and the Wilkinsons were dead. Mr. Wilkinson, meanwhile, remains in critical condition. That's the husband of Gail's sister. So that was the guy's mom, the ex-husband's mom's sister. So the ex-husband's aunt and uncle, and the uncle's the only one alive in critical condition. He's at the Austin Hospital in Melbourne awaiting a liver transplant. Damn, these mushrooms really fucked them up. He's also thought to have suffered severe damage to his kidneys and understood to be heavily sedated after spending several days on life support in a coma. These were no mushrooms to be playing with. As a lone survivor, his recovery could hold the vital key to the case and shed light on what really happened that day. Homicide detectives are investigating the 3 unexplained deaths, thought to have been caused by death cap mushrooms, which are known for being among the world's most poisonous. I don't know. I'm still like, it's just, what if it was an accident? In her first detailed account of events, she claimed the mushrooms were a mixture of button mushrooms from a supermarket and dried mushrooms she bought at an Asian grocery in Melbourne. Months ago, she was unable to identify which Asian grocer she had visited, but said the dried mushrooms came in a package with a handwritten label. Wow, okay, she's lying. Holy moly. This is her crying because people started interrogating her outside of her house. When these things happen, that happens where news outlets and everybody want to interview you. What is her name? Patterson.
Hello, this is Dr. Grande.
Oh, no, not you, Dr. Grande.
The woman at the centre of Victoria's deadly mushroom case has broken her silence to claim she too ate the meal responsible for the deaths of 3 people. Erin Patterson says she also fell ill and was hospitalised. She also claims to have bought the mushrooms from a major supermarket and a grocery store.
She refused to answer questions.
What took place at the meal? Erin?
He needs to leave. But Erin Patterson has now gone public to put her side, saying she did eat the beef Wellington meal that proved fatal for 3 people. The 48-year-old says she was also hospitalised, but that doctors gave her a liver protective drug to help. She also admitted lying to detectives when she initially told them she dumped her food dehydrator at the tip a long time ago. She's since confessed to doing so after the meal was served. While in hospital, Ms. Patterson said she discussed the dehydrator with her children when her ex-husband asked, "Is that what you use to poison them?" Patterson claims she used a combination of supermarket button mushrooms and dried mushrooms from an Asian grocer, preserving some of the meal to give to hospital toxicologists. When police came knocking, she was advised to give a no-comment interview to police. But now, I now very much regret not...
Look at that face. Ooh, that's a face right there. That's a face of crocodile tears, if I've ever seen them.
Answering some questions following this advice given the nightmare that this process has become. Miss Patterson's in-laws, Don and Gail Patterson, died after eating lunch at her Leongatha home on July 29. Gail Patterson's sister, Heather Wilkinson, also died.
Mind you, the ex-husband was supposed to be there. So she was going to off him too.
Heather's husband, Ian Wilkinson, remains in a critical but stable condition. The pastor now in desperate need of a liver transplant. Last year, Ms. Patterson's ex-husband, Simon Patterson, was also hospitalised for a mystery stomach illness. With unconfirmed reports, he was poisoned too.
And Cassie Zervos has the latest on the investigation. Cassie, that statement was also given to police.
It was, Mitch, but 7 News understands relatives of the victims are now concerned that the statement released has several inconsistencies to what they know. Although Erin Patterson says she now regrets giving a no-comment interview to police, she hasn't undergone a second interview with homicide investigators, instead relying on that written statement passed on through her lawyers. Mitch.
Cassie Zervos at police headquarters, thank you.
Yeah, so this crazy lady... You know, could you imagine if you're in a marriage for a while, you get divorced, but your ex-wife is inviting your family over to dinner and she's feeding them poisonous mushrooms? And from what I've read and have heard about the story all week, this has been a big thing in the news all week. The ex-husband also at one point was put in a coma after he had had a dinner she served him for I think he was in a coma for days prior to this lady killing his parents, and tried to get his aunt and uncle too. Well, killed his aunt. Her children ate the same meal the following day, she claims, but picked out the mushrooms because they don't like them. It had previously been claimed they were at the meal, but Erin says they were both at the cinema at the time. The dying words of one of the victims were so alarming they made paramedics call police immediately to relay what they heard. According to reports, it was also emerged following tragedy that Simon had recently recovered from a mystery stomach illness that left him in intensive care for 21 days. The police are continuing. So that must be him. Yeah, Simon Patterson was in intensive care, the ICU, for 21 days after eating something this fucking bitch made him. I mean, that is terrible. It's not a smart way to try to poison anybody neither. I mean, if you really want to do it, wouldn't you want to try to figure out how they make like ricin or something? Not trying to put any ideas out there on YouTube or the internet, but that is a terrible way to try to poison everyone at one time. Also, after you you fed them poison food. I mean, it's a terrible plan, and executed even worse because, oh man. Aaron's leaked statement read, I now very much regret not answering some questions. Given the nightmare that this process has become, I am now wanting to clear up the record because I have become extremely stressed and overwhelmed by the deaths of my loved ones. I'm hoping this statement might help in some way. I believe if people understood the background more, they would not be so quick to rush to judgment. I'm devastated to think that these mushrooms may have contributed to the illnesses suffered by my loved ones. I really want to repeat that I had absolutely no reason to hurt these people whom I loved. In another twist, a tradesman claims to have taken a picture of what he called a death wall in the Patterson's former home. The hell is that? It allegedly includes images of gravestones, daggers, and decapitated heads, while scrawled messages state, "You are dead by the sword, and you will die within a year." The anonymous handyman said, it was disturbing. Yeah, I'm sure it is. Damn, so this lady was putting together death murals. She's a real creep, man. You really got to watch out eating what people make you. I mean, it's a shame. It's a shame that you can't, I don't know. You never know who somebody is. I always think about that. Because I tend to be very trusting of people. In other news, there's a fisherman that dredged up a 30-foot dinosaur from the ocean. So according to the Mirror, these fishermen out in Japan, they're dredging for fish, or probably crab, I could imagine. They pulled up the corpse of a mysterious sea creature from the depths of the Pacific Ocean. After taking some pictures of it, it was 30 feet and 4,000 pounds, but it was rotting. They called it a rotting monstrosity. The skipper chose to have it thrown back below the waves because of the foul odor. He was scared that it was going to spoil the fish they caught. Here's pictures of this nasty mess that they dredged up. There's supposed to be a video of it loading up here. Oh, this is in 1977. I'm about to look this up on YouTube and see if I can find a video.
In September 1977, this Japanese fishing boat was off the east coast of New Zealand when it trawled up in its nets a mystifying carcass. The Japanese TV networks were excited enough to helicopter teams out over the South Pacific and winch their reporters down onto the ship at sea. On the deck of the Zuyo Maru, the skipper talked to journalists.
On April the 25th at about 10:30, we noticed something big caught in the nets. It was a red, fleshy object which smelled very strongly. We didn't know what it was, so I went for my camera and flash gun.
Sadly, the body itself was afterwards thrown back. But early in 1980, one of the world's leading fisheries experts, Professor Fujio Yasuda, arrived for a conference in London with such evidence as remains.
This is all the evidence about the unknown creature dredged from the sea by the Zuyo Maru off New Zealand on the 25th of April 1977. These photographs were taken by Mr. Yano of Taiyo Fisheries. The real half of the body was rotten and dropped off. As you can see in this photograph, the surface of the body is covered with a fat-like substance. This is the drawing made by Mr. Yano after measuring the creature. I can't think of any known fish which has this shape. I can't tell what this creature is, but I assure you that it is completely unknown to us.
It is pretty odd. I mean, yeah, so back in 77, they found this thing. They nicknamed it Nessie for further expert analysis. The creature had a long neck, 4 large red-colored fins, and a tail about 2 meters long. There were no internal organs in the chest cavity, and the gut had opened up from decay, but flesh and fat were still intact, allowing amino acids to be extracted for examination, reports the Daily Star. Many, including scientists from Yokohama and Tokyo University, thought it was a sea serpent or a prehistoric plesiosaur, a creature which met its downfall along the dinosaurs 65 million years ago. So this is like a depiction of the creature that they had found. It's a tiger dolphin shark. It's kind of like a man big bear of the sea. Or man bear pig. I said man pig bear. Moving on. In the science world, this is according to thecooldown.com. Scientists discover a startling phenomenon taking place in our oceans we haven't been able to understand. The ocean is the largest ecosystem on Earth, and our health is intertwined with its health. It is very true. If the ocean is healthy, it makes us healthy, along with trees. And actually, the ocean makes up of most of our oxygen. A lot of people like to point at trees and say it's trees, but it's actually the ocean. When we think of the ocean, we think the great blue expanse. But recent images from NASA's Bodhisattva satellite shows our oceans are becoming steadily greener, and not in a good way. The changes in phytoplankton populations, which are made up of microbes that contain chlorophyll, borophyll, more like it, are causing a change in our ocean's color, according to data from a new study and as reported by The Guardian. Since the color of the ocean is mainly the result of what occupies its upper layers, the more phytoplankton living there, the greener the water will be. They dissected the past 20 years from the satellite's observation, seeing that the patterns in the change of the ocean's color, they've been studying it in the spectrums of red and blue. Plankton of varying sizes with different pigments scatter and absorb light differently, so studying changes in the ocean's color can provide scientists with a clearer picture of changes in plankton populations worldwide. Phytoplankton is the base of most marine food chains, in making them essential to ocean ecosystems. But if there's too much, then why is that so bad? We do have changes in the color that are significantly emerging in almost all of the ocean. These are not ultra-massive ecosystem-destroying changes. They may be subtle, but this gives us an additional piece of evidence that human activity is likely affecting large parts of the global biosphere in a way that we have not been able to understand. Oh, right here, it brings us up. Our oceans feed us, regulate our climate, and generate 50 to 80% of our oxygen. In short, if the oceans die, we die. The reason we care about this is not because we care about the color, but because the color is a reflection of the changes in the state of the ecosystem. One of these changes is recent abundance of plastic in the ocean caused by human pollution. And that is true. We all know that there's islands the size of Texas of just garbage floating around the ocean because we were selling our recyclables to China and they ended up getting too much of it. So they just started throwing it in the ocean. We can work to slow the overheating of our planet and protect our oceans by moving away from single-use plastics. Hard to do now. I would like everything to be glass, but we're going to talk about the up in prices of everything even more. It's very cheap and easy to use plastic. So yeah, there's some more sad news for us today. Jeez, we're on a roll here. No Outlet Live. Let's go, y'all. Young men murdered by cartel on camera after being lured by a warlord's fake job. Let's jump into a little more depressing news.
No Outlet News. No Outlet News.
Yeah, that's how we do it. So let's check out this story. Oh, they took it off the webs. Good, we can skip that depressing ass shit. I think I got some stuff that's not depressing in here for us. Okay, Aiden Ross. This guy. He's been doing videos of Charleston White, and they're all over the internet. I highly suggest you guys see about this guy, Charleston White. He doesn't pull punches. I mean, he calls it like he sees it. A lot of people think he's a racist black guy. They think he's a black dude that's racist against black dudes. Like old fellow on the Boondocks with the eye that popped out. But I think he just calls it like he sees it, and he's openly a snitch. So people want to come at him, and then he snitches on them people. So it's not smart. If you have any plans on harming this man, I suggest you don't do it online or have ties that this guy knows how to find out anything about you. But beyond that, Hayden Ross begs haters to stop trolling him after having watched his blood sister, Naomi Ross, explicit videos. My mom watches my streams. So this all starts from a long time ago. This Hayden Ross dude is like a viral sensation. He was doing a stream, and somebody had sent him a trick video which had his sister's OnlyFans on it, and he watched it for a little bit because his sister's video didn't show her face for a little bit. Let me try to see if I can find anything on this. It was actually a really funny thing, and I don't remember. I think the podcast was down for a little while, but when this video came out, it was hilarious. Oh no, that ain't real. Oh, his sister's dead. That's sad. Oh, okay. So here, let's just go on the Charleston White thing.
Of course, bro. This shit. This guy did like a 2-hour interview. You're milking it, bro. This guy realizes he fumbled the bag, and he's.
This is Aiden Ross up here in the corner, and he's talking about Charleston White, because Charleston White did a lot of interviews about hanging out with Aiden Ross, and he made a lot of his own content explaining that a lot of crazy allegations that he's putting on Aiden Ross. This kid's just like some viral dude. He's streaming all the time, and he's a big streamer. I mean, he's making a pretty good living off of streaming, but he invited the wrong guy because this dude's twisting a lot of things on him. I mean, maybe Charleston White is blowing this out of proportion, but the way Charleston White explains his weekend with Aiden Ross, I mean, it was believable to me.
He's milking it as much as he possibly can. You know what I'm saying? So prayers go out for him, bro. I'm gonna be the bigger person here, even though he's like 3 times my age. You know what I'm saying, bro? You just fumbled the biggest bag ever. So I don't know what to tell him, bro. It was a good interview. Well, we'll watch a little bit of clips. I'm sure you guys clipped and put in the Discord and shit. We'll react after all the segments.
Aiden said, I'll give you money. Nah, homie, I'm watching you gamble $200,000 on the table. If you give me $50,000, that's like eating a bone and throwing it on the floor and let the dog eat it.
What the fuck?
Teach me how to play. Teach me how to play, because I see you keep winning. Teach me how to play, if you really like me.
I literally said, come gamble with us. This guy's like so dumb. Literally so fucking dumb. On stream, I literally said, come gamble with us. Oh, I don't gamble, I'm gonna go smoke.
See, he gave Prime a fish. He didn't teach him how to fish.
He's spitting.
That's why Prime was doing more talking.
I'm kidding.
Interacting, than recording content for his own channel.
Literally, I literally lost $1 million.
My little mama was recording content for yeah, that was the cameraman.
Yeah. No, Charleston White is smart, chat. He's a very smart person. He has a lot of issues, bro. There's no way he should have just went rogue on me. I didn't do anything. I literally didn't do shit. You don't remember? In my stream, he literally said, I respect you, I love you, I admire you, but I don't roll like this. He said, we'll talk. And then I know he went on the hit.
5 to 6.
I'm not even watching that shit.
Yes. My little mama was recording content for yeah, that was the cameraman. For some more channels. And then I flew my cameraman in for our B-roll. And you finna get the B-roll, well, you got the B-roll or the police kicking it in. I went and looked up the most recent lawsuit. Somebody won almost $2 million for the police being called on them in a hotel where they was already staying and being made to leave for trespassing, exactly like they done me. I've already spoke to an attorney that's ready to take the case. So I feel like I was subjected to something, homie. With not being notified if this is what I wanted to do, because I'm thinking I'm coming for a streaming deal. Only to have the police called on me. When he's...
There's a lot of weird stuff that also happened in this, that this Aiden Ross dude in this clip, he's not covering. Like, they're trying to do this little game with him where they blindfold him, and he puts his hands into a box and he can guess what, he could guess what he's touching. He was like, no, I ain't playing that game with y'all. What the hell do you think? Who do you think I am? You think I'm going to grab your dick? You trying to get me to diddle you? Like, they were doing a lot of weird stuff with this stream that made him super uncomfortable. And now he's on the, I don't know if he's on the offensive or defensive at this point, because Aiden Ross and him are creating this big thing. Maybe that's a part of like what streaming is for these guys though. Maybe they're like working together, almost like the fake hip hop beefs. You know, a lot of them hip hop beefs, the big ones, a lot of them were fake to generate money. And that could be what these guys are doing. I want to see Charleston White. No, not this. Surviving Aiden
what's
Ross.
good, YouTube? Y'all
Not
know
you
we
guys.
On there do my thing, but I'm paying attention to the type of questions he's asking me. He said, hey, do you like Jews? I heard you don't like Jews. I said, I don't like nobody. Jews, niggas, Asians, blacks, white.
This dude, this motherfucking Charleston White, he's a wild cat. I mean, he really is crazy.
Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, Cubans, dogs, horses, fish, roaches.
He don't like nothing. He added roaches to it.
Worms, butterflies, ants. Nigga, I don't like nothing.
Oh my God. He kicked it off with the illest rap ever.
I heard you don't like Jews. I said, I don't like nobody. Jews, niggas, Asians, blacks, whites, Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, Cubans, dogs, horses, fish, roaches, worms, butterflies, ants. Nigga, I don't like nothing.
And that's really his side of the argument here. Hold on, let me try to skip through.
Felt easy from that point on. So if you go watch it, you can tell I was never easy. I don't know what they trying to play on me, homie. Why would he do this? He don't know me. And I would finna mace that nigga. The nigga Prime said, no, I'm just playing, because he saw I was serious. So, 8 of them was sitting back finna let this nigga toe his ass up. I got that bad motherfucker too, boy. Ooh, I got that bad motherfucker. The kids finna feel it. The old women in this motherfucker finna feel it. But I'm afraid at this point when I shoot it. So I'm justified. If you're gonna do this to me, let me know so I can be in on it and nobody gets hurt. Because he was finna get hurt along with some other people out of fear. Fear of being harmed and hurt, and fear of being publicly humiliated. You can't play with me like that. See,
Dude,
I'm not.
Yeah, so he went out and hung out with Aiden Ross, and it didn't turn out very good. And I didn't realize that his sister had passed away. I mean, is that real? While checking contributions on his official Discord server, Ross came across a video featuring his sister, and he realized what his admirers had shared with him. The 22-year-old star was taken back. He briefly paused his stream after watching the footage and then expressed his frustration to followers. That is a terrible prank. All you guys laughing, scripts, and all this other stuff. Listen, bro, from the bottom of my heart, it's cool to joke about my ex's stuff from time to time. It gets old and I don't understand it. It does make me upset. Putting 90% nude stuff on my sister, my blood sister, my literal sister I grew up with. I literally knew her ever since I was a baby, bro. It's beyond disrespectful, too far. This is him and his sister. His sister is a baddie. It's beyond disrespectful, he says, because his mother also watches his streams, so she saw it too. Don't make this a thing. This is genuinely effed up. My mom watches my streams. Wants to watch her youngest son watch his sister naked. Yeah, they bamboozled this guy into an incest stream, which is really odd. I mean, that is a crazy prank to pull on somebody. So what had happened was somebody sent this guy in his stream a video, and they spliced in the OnlyFans stuff of his sister into it. It was like genius, because he was like tuned into this video and commentating, and then it switched abruptly, and it has ruined a big chunk of his life. It is terrible, because then that also messes up his stream and makes him it makes it like an incestual, like pornographic stream at that point, wouldn't it? I don't know. It's crazy the things people do on the internet. That's why I ain't never accepting no videos from nobody but people in No Outlet Live. Or at least pre-screen it or something. Okay, my last story, and then I'm gonna call it quits on you guys. Southern California braces for a dangerous and significant hurricane, Hillary, as rainfall begins. So Southern California is on the brink of having a hurricane, and what did I do with this story? Oh no. I believe we have a news story here.
Our top story tonight is taking us to the Pacific, off the coast of Mexico, where Hillary remains a major hurricane. Tonight, concern the storm will unleash over a year's worth of rain on parts of the Southwest over a period of just a few days. And folks, AccuWeather Chief Meteorologist Jonathan Porter says Hillary is not your average tropical system.
We are talking about a very unusual and a dangerous setup here across the southwestern United States. How often is it that we see the track of a tropical storm right up into Southern California and to the northwest? Not very often. This is an unusual setup. That said, I want to point out we are not talking about hurricane conditions in Southern California.
Porter says tropical storm conditions will be possible, along with the risk for catastrophic flooding in the southwest. You got it, folks. And you know what? We already have some thunderstorms with flash flooding and severe wind going on well out ahead of Hillary, which is well off of Cabo San Lucas on the southern tip of the Baja Peninsula. But look at what's happening here across Arizona. There's a surge of moisture here, folks. And boy, we've got flash flood warnings going on across southeastern California, south of Las Vegas. A lot of lightning out here. This is a dangerous situation. South of Phoenix, down near the Mexican border, we do have severe thunderstorms there with 60-mile-an-hour winds and even some quarter-sized hail. So if you are in the vicinity of these storms here, folks, take it under advisement. Now, if you do live in Southern California,
my
Arizona,
people on the West
Southern
Coast, man.
Nevada,
my people's out there on the West Coast, be safe, dude. Because I from what I read, this is extremely not common, and this is the first hurricane to hit the West Coast of this magnitude since the 1930s, is what I read. So this is a really big deal.
You saw Chief Meteorologist John Porter showing Hillary's eye path. We're going to show it to you again because some of the same areas getting hit now with some of the heavy weather. Well, you're going to see a lot worse as we head over the next several days. And if you look at the timing of Hillary's path here, now this is watching the center of the storm and also tracking the intensity. Right now, the water is very warm where Hillary is located. It is an El Nino year, and that means the water in this part of the ocean is warmer than average, so it's a strong storm. But as it moves north, it'll move into some cooler water. Notice the intensity getting a little bit less and less as far as the wind. But don't let that fool you, because even though it'll make landfall here in Southern California into Sunday as most likely a tropical storm, it's not going to be much about the wind as so much it is the rain and the flooding. This could be a catastrophic flooding situation for portions of Southern California.
And you know, all of that area out there, there's a lot of dirt from like all of the desert and all that stuff. And it's so hot and it's been just dry. I was just in Phoenix over my birthday weekend leading up to July 24th. I went there on the 21st, I believe, and it was just dry. It was 120 degrees and just dry. So they got all this dust and dirt everywhere. When all of this crazy rain starts hitting them, they're going to end up with mudslides. All kinds of wild stuff could happen out of this. I mean, they needed rain, but not in this fashion.
Even in L.A. and San Diego, you could see a few inches of rain, but in the interior, it'll be a lot more. So this is a look at Hillary now. It has winds of 130 miles an hour near its center. It is a Category 4 storm. If it does become a Category 5, it'll be the first one of the season in either ocean. And this is a look at tracking Hillary moving forward. Watch as the intensity drops off a bit because it moves into the cooler water. And as eventually, in the Sunday to Tuesday timeframe, it should transition to a tropical storm and tropical rainstorm, but flash flooding will be likely in that time period in the desert Southwest. We actually have a tropical storm watch for Los Angeles County, for San Diego County, with a hurricane watch down the coast, and also a flood watch for much of that region. That's a good picture of where the heaviest of the rain is going to fall. And in these mountainous areas, these valleys, hills, we're going to see some mudslides out there too, and possibly road washouts. If you look at the rainfall forecast here, 4 to 8 inches of rain in some of these areas of California especially. Well, that's a year's worth of rain in some of these spots. Plus, we...
And 4 to 8 inches is average.
We had all the moisture over the winter and spring, so we're going to have some issues here, folks, with some possible life-threatening flash flooding. If you watch the moisture content in the future here into Saturday, the storm is...
So if you got like 4 inches of rain, you're still in the average category, big dog. Stay in that fight.
Still well to the south of Southern California on Saturday, but look at all that moisture being streamed in. So the rain starts Saturday, continues into Sunday when that storm makes landfall, most likely as a tropical storm somewhere between Los Angeles and San Diego, and eventually moves north. So folks, that's the area with the life-threatening flooding. We have to be advised the next few days are going to be dangerous.
Yeah, it's going to be super dangerous out there on the West Coast, and all of you guys, I really hope that you keep yourself together. You know, if you live somewhere that's got areas that are experiencing a lot of flooding, just be super careful. Don't be out on them streets. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, have a game plan for if things really flood in your house, because who knows? I mean, I remember in Hurricane Katrina seeing like all the people that were on their roofs. A lot of people died and got stuck in their cars. That happens a lot in flooding. So just be really careful. And, you know, I don't know. This was kind of a depressing episode of NoOutletLive, I guess. You know, I want everybody across the country, across the globe, you all stay safe. Everybody stay dry. You know, stay fit, stay active, stay healthy. But most of all, stay here, because next week I'm going to be bringing you the good stuff. Our boy will be back, and so will I. Enjoy the rest of your week that is coming up. This has been No Outlet Live.
We'll see you next time. This has been No Outlet Live.